Hi, welcome to Luis Cisneros YouTube channel. Today is a tribute dash tutorial about this amazing character based on the TV show Muppet Babies baby animal. So I hope you enjoy this journey because I will show you how to make this incredible character. I hope you join the whole trip and let's get started. So the first that we're gonna need it is an armature, and if you don't know how to make an armature, please watch my videos on how to make an armature. The second thing that we're gonna need is character chart, and this chart specifically has different characters. We're gonna need it because of they have different heights and they have different proportions. So in this case we're gonna use animal, and we're gonna use it to compare, especially for the sizes, and again they have different sizes of eyes, legs, arms, things like that. So this you will be able to find out on my website. I will put the link. The next thing that you're gonna need are tools like this needle pin, like sewing needle pin, like it is especially for Texturize. These tools that you can buy on the art stores that I have around their ends, and a brush just to clean or texturize too. Then what we're gonna do is we have the armature. We just compare it to the chart, so to see if it's the correct size. Then what we need to do, it is actually put in the position that I will want. In this case, he's on his tummy looking up and with his hands on his face, and the feet are playing around. So that's what we're gonna put it in that position. We're gonna start with the body. So for the body we're gonna need red clay and yellow clay, and we're gonna need equal parts to create orange color. So what are you gonna do? It is just mix it together and voila, you get orange. So remember, make more clay because you always can keep it, and if not you might have to mix again, and it's hard to get exactly the same color. So you're gonna use the chart just to create the body parts. So for the torso we need a pair, then a small ball for the feet. Just remember there are 2 foot, and for the legs it's gonna be exactly the same. Just compare with your chart. So in that way you need like cylinders for the arms, cylinders for the legs, and you always compare with the chart, so to see how much clay do you need and how big do you want this. Just to remind you, always with pairs. So after you have everything, you incorporate the torso that it has a shape of a pear into the armature, and with your tools you help to incorporate that. Just to remind you, the way that we have the character is on his tummy, so you have to incorporate that hair and not lose it. So it's the pear is gonna have like a shape of a curve, so that way, as I'm showing you molding, you try to put it. It's useful especially because in his tummy to put it on your baking stone or on a desk, so that way you create that sensation that is on his tummy. So as soon as you incorporate it on the armature, you will see how it looks like. So this is pretty easy. So, and this is just the torso that we're making. So just try to see how it looks. Just to remind you, on the top where the head is, the neck is going, and the butt ends where the 2 legs are. So now we're gonna use the other cylinder that we create for one of the legs. So you just incorporate it there. So as you can see, you put it inside and you help with the other tool just to close the gap and incorporate it to the body too, and use the small ones, and that way you don't have any gaps, or you don't have any breaks between the leg and the body. So we start to incorporate the other leg into the armature, and this leg has more movement since it's lifting it up, and it has the angle where the knee falls. Just a reminder where the cap it is, you want to create that curve so it looks more alive and with more movement. With the brush, you clean it up and you try to continue the cylinder form, but with movement. After that, you don't have to worry that it's perfect, because remember, we're gonna create later the texture. So you create with the two spheres that you have for your food, you create the silhouette of the food. Then after you have it, you're gonna cut, let's say 1/4 where the toes are gonna be. Then you incorporate it to the armature with the help of your tools, and without losing that silhouette that you have. Don't forget that the foot has an arc, and in this case we wanted to exaggerate that arcs, and that way it looks with more movement. Don't forget to also leave the heel pronounced too. So remember, in the cartoon characters, they over exaggerate those parts, and that way they look more alive. After that, with the pieces that you cut for the toes, you create a cylinder, you mark them down, the separation for the 4 of them, and you cut them. You create spheres, and with those spheres, a reminder, you have the big toe and then the smaller toes. So the big toe, it goes inside, and you incorporate it with your tools. Really careful without losing that sphere silhouette. And with the help of your tools, you put it one after another. Don't worry so much about the finishes, because again, we're gonna put texture, and that's gonna help us, but try to not leave any left clay. So what you want to do is incorporate one after another one, and just leave really the gap between the toes. They're gonna stick together one after another one, but just leave the gap where it is connecting to the foot. And then we'll start with the other one. So this is really important too, to try to leave the arc to, even that is not lifted enough. You wanna create the sensation of movement for the other leg too, and the foot is also really helping to create these. After that, you clean it up, try to not leave some fingerprints, and try also to not leave residues of clay. Then you have your 4 spheres. I always start with the bigger one, and then you put the next one and then the next one together. So with the help of your tools, you leave really the gap between the toe and the foot, and you have it. After you clean it up, so we're gonna texturize so we can get ready to put it in the oven. So we're gonna texturize all the way. Make sure that I don't leave any blank space. So you texturize with pen and try to go everywhere without pushing so hard, so that way you don't affect the silhouette. Okay, so this is really important, and texturize everywhere. Doesn't matter if the tummy goes on the surface, you texturize. After you finish and everything is done, we put it in the oven, so that way when you touch it, you don't mess it up. So after putting it in the oven, we're gonna create the pants that are wearing. The pants are like kind of these red, but we're gonna make it a little bit opaque with a little bit of yellow. So let's put it just a tiny yellow and then some red. So we create these kind of like really reddish orange. I would call it like that. So what we're gonna create it without pushing so hard, so you don't stain the orange body with the clay. We're just gonna create the silhouette of the shorts without the part of the leg. So what are you gonna create is gonna look like a pamper, like a baby pamper. So that's what you're gonna create, and this is the only way to do it, is just to try it and really careful without pushing, just to see if it matches the silhouette. So that's the reason you see me like trying. If it works, I take it out, and if it doesn't work, again I take it out and try it again, make it bigger, cutting some pieces, and then you try it again, and if not, then you put it again against your character, and you see what are you missing, bigger pieces, smaller pieces, and you incorporate those, and that's the only way to make it work. After you measure and you're completely 100% sure that your piece of clay matches the body, you're gonna incorporate it to your baked body, and you start with your tools creating the silhouette of the body. So in this case, because are the shorts, we're creating the butt and the butt. Remember, it has the two cheeks of the butt, and it has that line that are the two cheeks they create. So you push it against with your tools against the body, so in that way it really holds it. So just a reminder, the body is already baked, so you don't have to worry about messing up your body, but also you have to be careful because you don't want to leave traces of the red clay into the orange body. After you incorporate the shorts, you're gonna create the parts that are there going to the leg. You create two spheres, two exactly the same size spheres, and then you create some rectangles, and that way when you curve them, and it will create the short that is on the leg. You incorporate it with your tool. So again, what you do first is you make sure that it's the right leg, make sure that it fits correctly, and then you put it. So this is only try and try it and put it, try and put it, try and put it until you have the correct size, and then you incorporate it to the short. Just to remind you, obviously you want to leave it loose, and that way it looks like a short. It doesn't look like something that is really close to the body, and leave that gap so it's really nice. It makes it look like it is short. So that's the reason we create first the body and then the clothes on the top of the body. So when you help with your tools, sometimes you leave traces of the tools behind, so that's the reason it's really useful, the brush, so you can clean it up. After you finish your shorts, you bake them, and then we're gonna create the shirt. For the shirt is pastel pale yellow, so we're gonna create from the clay white and yellow. You need 3/4 of white and 1/4 of yellow. I'm so sorry I didn't film the part of the top, so what I'm gonna explain it is really easy. You create a sphere. After the sphere, you create a rectangle, and from that rectangle you measure with the body and until you have the correct size. Then you incorporate it, just putting it close in the back and a little bit just on the top of the front, and you leave it loose just on the bottom where the tummy part is, and you make it a little movement. Then on the top you put a piece of clay, creating the bottom strap, and you create a hole. Then to create the bottom, what are you gonna do is create a white sphere. Then with your rounded tool you push against that rounded sphere and you create the bottom. With the pin you create 2 holes, and then you push a little bit to make it at the bottom flat. Then we're gonna create the thread. The thread, as you can see, is really thin. So with a little bit of yellow you create a mini cylinder, so that way you have the thread. Then you put it against 2 holes, and with your pin you insert that thread clay into the holes. Just make sure that you put the thread really inside the holes, and so it doesn't pop up out when you put it against the bottom strap. So you put it where we leave the mark in the bottom strap, the bottom, and just press hard against the body, trying to be really careful and not trying to mess the bottom. And after that we're gonna start with the head. So we have a huge sphere, and we already baked the shirts, and that way we don't have to worry about touching it or affecting it. So for the head is we use the pink we created with red and white. And to create the sphere you have to compare it really against your chart, so you can see the size of animal's head. And then what do you do with your chart? You use a bigger round tool so to create the holes of the eyes. After creating the eyes, what you're gonna do is you're gonna compare with your chart, and with your pin you're gonna cut where the mouth is, so that way you can mark it and actually cut it. So to help you to open, we're gonna use the flat tool to open the mouth and help you to just drag it down, so that way you have the gap of the mouth. After opening the mouth, what are you gonna do is you're gonna take out pieces of clay, and the reason why is because we need to put black the tongue and the teeth, so that's the reason you want to take out just a little bit. Then don't press so hard, because if not, what are you gonna do? You're gonna affect the shape of the mouth and the head. So if you do that, again, you have to reshape it with your fingers. Don't forget that also in the top lip it has the shape of the nose and the cheeks, so that's the reason we're creating right now this shape. So it's closer with the eyes, and because we're making it like it is smiling, so the cheeks are higher, that's the reason we're pulling a little bit up that that lip, so that way you can see it is opening the mouth. We're gonna start creating our eyes. So for the eyes, it's really important that you have to make the two of them at the same time. So you wanna measure your spheres. You're gonna measure them exactly the same size. So it's just a white sphere, and what you're gonna do is with your small rounded tool, you're gonna create the hole where the black eye goes. So you measure against your chart, so that way you see the size of the eyes. Then with wipes, you're gonna clean your hands, because the white clay always leaves so much white on your fingers, so you wanna clean them before using the black clay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna use your black clay and have two small pieces of black clay, so you can put the black eye on it. So it's really tiny, and you have to do the two of them at the same time. So what you're gonna do is create one sphere, cut it in half, and then you have the two of them. Measure them, so that's the reason we have to try different times. So as you can see, that one, it was too big. Then so the second eye, it turned out to be like the two eyes. So again, I cut them, I measure them, and I make sure that they were the same size. So you drop it in the hole, and with your rounded tool, you're gonna pressure, so you create the black eye. After you finish animals' eyes, you put them in the oven, and while they're baking, what you want to do is come back and keep working on the mouth. I think it needs a little bit of more gap, so I take out a little bit more clay. So then I create a half circle, a black circle and flat circle, and I measure against the mouth, and I make sure that it fits. If it doesn't fit, I cut more piece, or I take out more clay, and then I put it again. When it fits, then I push it against them with the tool, and I put it inside, and then I create the black mouth, inside mouth. Then I do the same with the second part. Again, I create like a half plain circle, and if it doesn't fit, what I do, I cut it, or I take out some clay, and then when I measure it that it fits, then I push it inside, so that way I create the inside of the mouth. So after we create the black inside of the mouth, we're gonna create the tongue. So I just start with the sphere. The color that I created is a pale pink, but I add a little bit of yellow, so it has like this tongue color, but it doesn't have to. You can create any color of tongue that you want. If you want to like really red, or if you want like a harder pink, so you can create that. Mine, it was just a little bit of white, tiny of yellow, and then red. So after that, from the sphere, I create the tongue, and I just press it with the pins, and I create the middle of the tongue. Then we're gonna put it inside the mouth, right in the middle. after the tongue, what are we gonna create is the fangs, and the fangs are white, and you're gonna create two not exactly the same, but like pretty similar cones. So you create the sphere, and after the sphere you create these cone silhouette to make the fang. So you create, you measure actually with the chart, and that's the reason I keep saying the chart is really helpful, because in that way it keeps you it keeps you on track with proportions. So then after you create one fang, you're gonna put it inside in the black area, since we need to add the lip. So just make sure that you put it in the black area just beside the tongue, and you do exactly the same with the other fang. So just make sure that you pressure really hard and really it is in there, because if not it can get loose and when you bake it, and it will not stick into the mouth. After the fangs and the tongue are ready, we're gonna create the lower lip, and this is the same color as the arms and the legs. So you're gonna create a cylinder, and you're gonna measure the cylinder against your mouth. Just to remind you, it has to be the same size as the pink edge that you left. So the only way to do it is just to measure. It cannot be bigger than your fangs. Just to remind you, it cannot cover fangs. You need to cover the base of your fangs, and that way it doesn't look that they're putting in the pink, and it has to cover the pink. So that's the correct size. Then at the edge, you want to do it is you want to make it smaller, so that way it incorporates at the edge of the and at the end of the mouth. So that's what you want to do. So you incorporate really careful, just to inside to cover, just cover the pink from inside the mouth. Putting the lower lip, what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert the eyes. So you're gonna try them first. If it doesn't fit, create a bigger hole for the eye. Then insert them and make sure that they are looking the same direction. Then after putting it inside, what you're gonna do is, if you affect the shape of the face, just reshape it, and then we're gonna start creating the texture with the hinges. Create the hair texture in like where is the all face. I create more hair, especially at the end of the face, because remember it has the hat, and the hat creates like some hair to stick out. So that's what you want to pull a little bit from behind and from the front. So you create all the hair around in the close to the top, the yellow top, close to the lip too, and all around it. So just keep going and try to not push so hard so you don't affect the shape, the round shape of the face. So just create the effect of the hair. After finish the whole texture of the face, we're gonna create the nose. So you're gonna create the red nose a sphere, and you compare it with your charts, and that way you have the perfect size. You create in the topper mouth part with your rounded tool the hole that you're gonna put the nose in, and you shape it a little bit with your pin. After shaping it with your pin, you collocate the nose where in the part it is. You measure it, and if it is perfect, you just put it in that place, and with the pin you just correct the hair that you messed it up. But if not, you just leave it as it is. Try to push hard so it really sticks in the pink clay. Then we're gonna start making the lashes, so the eyelashes. What we're gonna create is two spheres, two black spheres, exactly the same size. Then you create two cylinders, and then after that you measure it against the eyes. And when you have the correct size, you put it around the eye, and you start pulling out the hairs from that black cylinder. So now we're gonna create the bow ribbon that it has surrounding his neck. So for this we're gonna need 6 pieces. 2 are gonna be for the loose ribbon, then 2 is gonna create the bow, and then the other 2 is one that surrounds the neck and the one that surrounds the bow. So first we're gonna create the loose ribbon. So we're gonna create a long triangle shape, and we're gonna fold it a little bit. So that's the loose ribbon. So we're gonna create 2 of them, so that way is the one that is just when you create the bow, it is the leftover ribbon that is just hanging. So we're gonna try to create a little bit of curve and be playful about it. When we finish that, we create another 2 identical triangles. So first the sphere and then the triangle, and that's the one that you create for the bow. So these 2, as you can see, it is kind of like a diamond, a longer diamond, or like a U-shaped triangle. Then you fold it, and that's how you create the bow, the 2 parts of the bow. Then a small sphere is the one that actually is the one that you create the tie of the bow. So, and with the pin you create this line that is created like the one that is surrounded. So that's how do you do it. We have one left piece that is the one that rounds the neck. So you just measure, make sure that you can measure it, and it goes through the bottom and the neck, so that way you can make it thinner, because you need to surround the whole neck. So if it doesn't go through, it's gonna be really difficult to put it. So that's the reason you have to make sure to make it thinner. After that, what you do is you round the neck, and with the help of the pin you put it through. Just if you want, it can be only the front of the neck, because at the back anyways you will not be able to see it because it has the hat. So this is actually the ribbon that helps the hat to put it in the place. Then the loose ribbon, you're gonna put it surrounded the bottom, so in that way you can see it, so you don't cover it. So you put the loose ribbon, and then on the top of the bottom, between the neck and the bottom, you put the bow, so that way you can see the whole thing. So we're gonna start creating the hat. To create the hat, we need a large cylinder, white cylinder. that we're gonna measure around the head, and then after that we're gonna flatten that cylinder with the ends smaller, and we're gonna start marking the semicircles for our lace, so in that way they create this semicircle shape. Remember, this is a flat surface, so with the help of our pin we mark them, and then with the help of our flat tool we make the semicircle shape. So after doing that, what I want to create with our pin is the lace. So they have like 3 holes just to create like another figurine of like lace. So that's what we're gonna do. We go in each circle, we have to put 3 holes. So just make sure to make the holes on the front and at the back, because sometimes when you push with the pin in the front, it creates at the back and this left clay, so it doesn't look clean. So what you want to make, the figure that you want to create with the pin, is actually a hole, so you punch in the pin and then you drag it down, so it creates kind of like a long circle shape. So it is a lace. If you want to create a more creative lace figurine, you can do it, but this one is simple because remember also we need to fold it. So you don't want to create a really complicated lace, and also because it's really hard to shape it into the folded lace that we're gonna use. So that's the reason I use this symbol. After we have it, then what we're gonna start doing is we're gonna just reshape from the other side. So we flip the lace and we shape again the same holes that you created. So you pin it and then you pull down, and that's how you create these. It looks like kind of like a stretch O, and there are 3 like making like petals, let's say. So that's the shape that I'm creating. So, and as you can see, I'm working on the other side to make it even from the front and from the back. After you finish the pattern, remember this has to be longer, and the reason why is because we're gonna create the ruffles. So we create the ruffles before putting in the head, and we start measuring, so in that way we know where the ruffles ended. So as you can see, it is longer, but it's gonna end being exactly the perfect size because of the ruffles. So after we put the ruffles, what are we gonna do? It is we're gonna push it against the pink area, and that's gonna be with your rounded tool. Remember, this is gonna be covered, so you don't have to worry about it. So we again first measure that it actually matches, and then you surrounded the whole face. Okay, so that's what you want to do. So with the pin, you just have to put it in, but with the rounded, you push it against the pink. Remember, we left some hair to mark where the hat is gonna be, and the reason why I was explaining you, the hat is pushing the hair out, so that's the reason it looks like larger. So that's the way that we mark it. And with the rounded, you put the ruffles. So we need, remember, we need to incorporate it to the hat. The lace has to be incorporated to the hat. That's the reason we make first the lace, and don't worry about making a perfect incorporation at the back, because that's gonna be covered with the hat that we're gonna put. So this is just the lace. So there you go, that's how we have it. So after you put the lace, we're gonna create flat cylinders, and you measure them to cover all the back of the head, and that's what I'm doing. The texture that we're gonna create for these, we're not gonna put a lace because it's gonna be really hard to do that. So just I think with the rounded tool we create these rounded pins. So that's what I like that texture. So with this, I create cylinders, and then I create different shapes. Just to remind you, it's a rounded surface, so you create these kind of longer triangles just to cover. Don't worry, they don't have to be perfect. What they have to do is just cover the whole back of the head, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna add the texture with a smaller rounded tool, and that's pretty simple. And that's how you incorporate those ones to the lace, not the lace to the hat. So as you can see, I took out the ribbon because it was bothering me with the lace and with the back of the hat. So I took it out, and then we will put it back and we will bake it. So what we did is we did the arms and the hands, and I'm sorry I didn't have this video. My camera ran out of battery and didn't film it. So, but since you already have done, the fit is exactly the same. The only difference it is that the hands they are shorter, and the fingers they are longer. So we did exactly the same as the fit. Instead of like spheres, what I create with the fingers, it was just a smaller tubes or cylinders. Then I put it against, we bake already the head, the ribbon, so we put it against that, so the fingers they actually follow the head, the hair, and the lace. Then after that, we're gonna create just the sleeves for the top, the yellow top. And what I'm doing is I create a sphere that surrounded a semi sphere that surrounded the arm, and I incorporated it to the shirt. And this is the last part that you have to do. So then after you finish, you bake completely the entire piece and you are done. If you have any questions, please send me a private message or a message on the YouTube channel, and I will respond there.